welcome back to Let's Talk H.P. Lovecraft, doing for you today a review of The Terrible Old Man, written in 1920 and published in July 1921 in Tryout Amateur Press magazine. If you're not familiar with my reviews, what I do is I begin with a quick synopsis of the story and then finish up with a short analysis. But before I get started with that, just wanted to remind you that you should subscribe to my channel, and that way you'll be notified when anything else comes out, and we are releasing videos daily, several times on most occasions. We already have close to 1,700 videos for you, and that number is quickly growing, so be sure to do that. Alright guys, The Terrible Old Man. It's a very short story. It's about 2.5 pages long. It's set in the fictional town of Kingsport in Lovecraft's imaginary version of New England, and this is said to be the first occasion in which his imaginary New England appears in his writings. The gist of the story is that 3 robbers plan to steal gold and silver from an old man, the terrible old man, whose name is not revealed, who is said to have been a sea captain in his youth and used to serve on board of East India clipper ships, taking him to all kinds of exotic locations. Today, as a very terrible old man, the old man lives alone in an ancient house on Water Street in Kingsport, and he's believed to have accumulated riches on his travels, and then those riches are supposedly stored in his house. He's also believed to be insane. Nobody really gets to know him because he's so bitter. Taciturn is the word that Lovecraft uses. But they've looked into his windows and caught him talking to himself, or apparently talking to a series of weird-looking bottles on his table. And then it said that these bottles would answer back by vibrating. Not a lot of information is given on this aspect of the story. At any rate, when the night of their plan comes together, these robbers, 2 of them, they enter the house under the guise of wanting to interview the old man, and then, of course, the goal there is really to find out where he keeps his gold and then to take it. A 3rd guy waits out back beyond the back gate of the house in his getaway car. The getaway car driver hears screaming, which he believes is the screams of the old man. He's said to have not wanted the old man to be hurt, but he assumes that they got rough with him and things got out of hand. So he expects at any minute his friends will be coming out the back gate. And somebody does come out the back gate, but it turns out to be the old man. And the next thing we know it, all 3 of the robbers, including the getaway driver, are dead, and their bodies are being found by the locals. Their bodies are being described as mutilated, with lots and lots of cuts all over them, almost if someone had taken a sword and slashed them. And fade to black, the end of the story. Yeah, it is a short one, guys. Like I said, 2.5 pages. Not a whole lot going on here. There's decent tension building through the entire story up to about the last paragraph. And then there's really not any sort of convincing, satisfying payoff. You know, we know there's something a little bit odd about this guy, but we never really learn anything about it. You know, what is his thing? Is he got some sort of magic or some sort of power? Is he evil? Or is he just an old man? It's not entirely clear. You know, he hints at the supernatural, but it's not really made clear. But it's okay to not make things clear, but you have to do it in such a way where there is some sort of satisfying conclusion. Story does remind me a little bit of the movie Don't Say a Word, featuring Stephen Lang. Came out a couple of years ago, where these three kids break into this guy's house knowing that he is blind. So they figure, well, if I'm really, really quiet, we can find his safe and steal whatever he has in it. But of course, the old man turns out to be very, very good hearing, and he knows his way around his house, and he becomes more than they can handle. So here's the other thing. It wouldn't be Lovecraft if he didn't talk about the issue of racism. You know, he's known to have been pretty xenophobic, but I think it's dangerous to judge his stories completely under that lens. I think it's unfair to judge any art by the autobiographical information of the artist. He does at times in his fiction say things that can easily be construed as being racist, but the only reason your mind is thinking that is because you know about the story of his real life. In this case, the three robbers are being described as being foreign people who have come in, and some critics have jumped on that as being, oh, this is a sign of Lovecraft's xenophobia and his hate of outsiders. However, I think in this story it is very, very necessary that the robbers be outsiders, because had they been locals, they would know to be afraid of the man, and they would have taken the warnings of the town folks and the stories and the superstitions seriously. But they don't, because they assume that he's just actually an old man. They don't see any danger, and that inability to see the danger is a necessary part of getting them into the building and getting them murdered. Final thought, it's mildly entertaining. Ending is a little bit weak. Doesn't feel like it has a solid, pleasing ending. But again, it's only 2.5 pages long. If you're a slower reader, at the most, 8-10 minutes of your life, probably less. And what have you got to lose, So it's still worth the read. It's no big loss. I think it took less time to read the story than to do this video, which I will be wrapping up now. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. Once again, please subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.